we're looking at this problem, and we're given f of s. We need to find the initial value of f when t is equal to 0. Well, to do this, when we are given to it like this, we're obviously given it in the s domain because we have f of s. And so we need to convert this to t. And when we convert this to t, what we're going to say is, well, the equivalent of this is that the limit as t is approaching 0, and we're approaching 0 from the negative side, is when we have our f of t, and this is equal to the limit. Now we're looking at our s domain, where s is approaching infinity of f of t. And then after we have this written in, we have to add an s. So we have f of t, which is the function that we're given, times s. And this is for when we have this right here. So now we can just plug in our function. And then we can also factor in the s. So in the numerator, we're going to do everything in here. We're going to factor everything in. We are going to have 10s cubed plus 400s. And so this will be the numerator. Now let's look at the denominator, and we can factor everything in here together. We are going to have s cubed plus 12s squared plus 136s plus 8s squared plus 96s plus 1088. So this is our equation. Now from here what we can do is we can multiply both the top and denominator by 1 over s cubed and then 1 over s cubed. And so in doing this, we are going to have the limit as s approaches infinity. And then in the top, we are going to have 10 plus 400 over our s squared. And this is divided by a 1 plus, then we're going to have 12 over s plus 136 over s squared plus 8 over s plus 96 over s squared, and then plus 1088 over s cubed. Now we know whenever we have a constant over infinity, we basically have 1 over infinity. And when we have 1 over infinity, it's approximately 0. So all of these are going to be 0. And that also means that this right here is going to be 0. So we're just left with a 10 over 1, which is going to give us a 10. And so we have 10 for the answer. Now we're going to look at the second one, where we need to find the final value of f when t is approaching infinity. So it's going to be very similar. We're going to write that the limit as t approaches infinity of f of t is equal to, now we convert this into the s domain, s when it's approaching 0. And then in here we have our f of t times s. So it's very similar. And now we can just write out our equation. We have the limit as s approaches to 0. And now we can factor, or actually for this part we don't need to factor, but to stay consistent we'll factor in anyways. We're going to have 10s cubed, remember because we have this s right here, we're factoring it in as well, plus 400s. And then our denominator is going to look similar to the last one, 12 or s cubed plus 12s squared plus 136s plus 8s squared plus 96s plus 1088. So now knowing this, we can just plug in our s. If we do that, we're going to get our whole numerator is 0, and then all of this is going to become 0. So we're left with a 0 over 1088, which is effectively 0, and so our answer here is 0. And that's how you'd go about solving for this problem.